The ego versus soul. The soul being the deepest center of you, connected to an infinite power, joy, love, excitement, and passion, while the ego being the very narrow telescope that you can only see just a small field of view, a lower level of consciousness. The objective being to expand our conscious awareness, to tap into the deepest part of the soul, this so we can then live a life full of joy, excitement, peace, harmony, and purpose. However, one way the ego is going to cause a problem is when it darts and it desires all sorts of things. One day we want to be a mechanic, but then the next day we rather, go to a 9-to-5 job and just have something easy, simple, I can just finish, go home. I want to be married, but then all of a sudden one day I don't want to be married. And you find that your ego is just ripping you apart, darting you from one idea to the next, and you just have no idea what's going on because it almost feels in control of you. Just quick, before we actually get into the main topic of the video, at the end, I'm going to be revealing my secret project. And this is something I've been so excited. I've been working on it for the last probably year or so, and I'm finally ready to reveal it to you and have you guys gain access to it. So stick around to the end for the reveal. If you imagine yourself, the ego, as a narrow field of view that can only see just a small bit of what's actually going on, and beneath the ego is a vast ocean called the unconscious. And in the unconscious, it's not a lifeless place. It is an active, moving environment. Within the unconscious lives stories, lives complexes that without addressing them, without building awareness of them, they will control your actions. Now, the question we ought to ask ourselves is, how do we tap into this? How do we tap into the deepest part of ourself, our soul? How do we have the ego sort of dissipate and slowly dissolve so that we can access such things and finally be able to pick one avenue? Finally put ourselves at rest and see what it is that we really are supposed to do in our life. And the soul will know that. The soul does not dart around. Now, for the most part, if we're unaware of how this works, we don't know what's going on. You'll have this attention to one thing one day, but then the next month you feel this strong, almost pulling force within you saying, we need to now go in this direction. You're like, but I just started with this. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. The worst part is trying to explain this to somebody. If somebody's talking to you and asking you how things are going, what are you working on lately? And you got to find a way to dodge around that question because it's embarrassing. Maybe you just don't want to bring it up because they're not going to understand. Most won't understand. But the very first objective is we need to gain a wider field of view. We need to expand our consciousness. Now, how do we actually do that? The way you do that is you want to imagine watching yourself. Like, have you seen the movie Inside Out? It was I don't know if it was a Disney movie or a Pixar movie. I can't remember. But it was the story of how this little girl had within her emotions who would watch her play out her life. Now, I don't want you to just imagine that exactly verbatim, but I want you to imagine yourself right now inside your brain watching through your eyes like a television screen. This way you can see the actions and feel less attached to them because the ego has a way of putting you in a sort of box, prison frame that is real, by the way. I know a lot of people say it's not real, it's not real. Well, it's real to you, okay? It is real, but you can step out of that. Absolutely, you can. And then you could start to see it as something, wow, like I couldn't believe that this was possible all along. It is. So the first thing is you want to sit back and observe and watch. And what are you watching for? You want to watch for the impulses, the emotions. There is an emotion that creeps up just before the impulse kicks in to change and dart and do something different. The emotion, generally speaking from my experience, is of an anxious one, a stressed, fearful type feeling that creeps in and imprints onto whatever path you're going a warped image of what's going on. Maybe that's not the right thing. You just start to go all in. You just go all into it. And then that makes you have to go to a different place. You want to watch that initial action. Then, when you start to see the emotion, you can start paying attention to it. And it may be hard at first. Maybe it's been a long time since we've done this. And so it's repressed itself. So we now just feel impulse, but we don't really know emotion. That's why oftentimes when I ask people a question of, Why do you think you do such actions? I don't know. They go, I'm not quite sure. It's just been so long repressed. You can find it. Okay, you can find it. You just need patience. Once you find it, you see the impulse, then you want to see how you've grounded it in action. What are the repeated cycles of behavior that we do? Because that's how we start to make it real. If it just stays in the theoretical, it's one thing. But when we take it outside of the mind and we place it into the world and we ground it through repeated habitual pattern, that is when it becomes absolutely real. Because then you'll start shaping the world around you to reflect it. And this is completely unconscious. We will even do things to our own detriment, knowing this isn't the right thing, but we feel almost compelled to. Because when we're unaware, things run on autopilot. The unconscious, the complexes, the narratives from within run on autopilot unless we look at them and observe them. When you start to see the emotion, you start to see the impulse, and you can feel the impulse, and then you start to ground the action, now you can start to map it out, what I call the inner map. You want to see how everything relates to what. Most importantly, what images are popping up as you start to observe all this. Pay attention to your dreams as well. Dreams are a wonderful way. If things are very repressed, dreams present themselves with information for you. As you start to notice the images, what are the images that come up? Are they memories? Are they symbols? What are they exactly? And you want to think of it like you're a miner, like you're not like a kid, but like someone mining for gold. As you dig down inward, follow that memory. Where does that memory lead to? And it's going to lead to a narrative. Because I'm not saying this is your scenario, but let's imagine if we dig all the way down and you get to the point where you realize that your reason for darting around and always trying to jump from one thing to the next, because perhaps you grew up in a conditional love household. That in order for you to get attention, admiration, acceptance, you needed to achieve big. And so perhaps you'll jump to one thing and it doesn't show that either immediate result. It's not bearing fruit right away. And the fruit itself, even if it starts to show it, it's not as big. It's not the right amount. And so you have to dart to the next thing. Okay, well, we got to do this. And if the story is, you're not aware of it, it'll still function. It'll still express and manifest itself. Because remember this, the complexes which contain within you a subpersonality. It has almost a mind of its own, desires of its own. And it wants to express itself through you, through your actions. And those contain memories and emotions, often because of traumatic pasts, or just over time you've had, let's say, an upbringing that was just unsettling, uncomfortable. They operate through you. And think of it, if you don't know what they are, how they work, how they ground it, well, imagine how much time has to go by before you completely forget about it, and now it just does whatever it sort of wants from you. It's a survival mechanism. Because let's say conditional love was the way you need to get accepted. Well, who doesn't want to be accepted? And so you go out your life trying to make that happen. Get all the way down and find that story. When you find that narrative, does that mean it'll go away right away? No. Because finding and seeing and being aware of it is a wonderful thing. It's actually one of the biggest things you can do, because just by seeing how everything operates releases its grip over you. However, this still sits somatically in the body. If it's something we've done for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the body has it now. And so it's almost a nervous system response. And so once we build awareness of it, then of course the next step is actually breaking the hold it has on your body. Once we can break the hold that it has on your body, that is when everything will start to change. And you can actually begin to author your own life, because behind the narrative, behind the story, sits the deepest, truest you, your soul. And your soul, again, is connected to the divine. It's connected to an infinite power. Even if unconscious, there are moments in your life where all of a sudden, for some whatever reason, maybe synchronicity just lined it up right for you, and you feel an immediate connection to something beautiful within you. This joy, this love, this abundant feeling, this feeling of eternity. But then it goes away right away. Like it kind of just comes and goes. You can tap into that. It's just the ego comes in and swoops it away and gets your attention pointing everywhere outward. That's what it's trying to do, get you to look at everything outside, but instead having it point back inward. And to finally announce my secret project, for the last while, I've been secretly working with the students at my academy. So it's something that I wanted to test out and run through and make sure it's something that I can actually deliver to you guys and actually have it be something that's going to bring results. And I am confident now that what I have built will bring results. And what I'm calling my 6-month mentorship program, using my rule of 3 method to find the story that's been controlling your life, build an inner map as to how that's been working over you, then working to break the story, break the somatic control it has over you, and then we can finally connect to your soul and have it point you in a direction, because your soul knows. You don't need me to tell you what your destiny is. You know what it is. All you need is someone to guide you through it. Just open the pathway, have it flow through you, and then off you go. You'll be doing your own thing, going on your own adventures. And I only accept 2 people per month because it's very intensive. You know, I give my full presence, my entire knowledge. I'm essentially just thinking about you all the time because it's a mutual work. I'm not just saying, okay, do this and I just, F off. No, I'm actually involved with it, understanding how things are working. We're communicating. It's a relationship type thing, but of course I'm guiding and I'm leading it. So click that second link down below. File an application form. I'll review it. We can book a 30-minute free consultation to see if we're a right fit, because that's also important. We got to see if we energetically fit together and work well, which makes results infinitely more possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.